and that is available to students who for 3 years after they graduate, and it does pay your tuition. It does not pay for your books and supplies at that point, but the tuition being the biggest portion, it will pay for that. And that is available to students who for 3 years after they graduate, and it does pay your tuition. It does not pay for your books and supplies at that point, but the tuition being the biggest portion, it will pay for that.
We may have to start over.
Okay.
Your turn. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. If you'll just start from the beginning.
Ready? Okay.
We have sound going and should not get any feedback.
All right. Good morning, sophomores. We're going to try that again. As when we try different things, sometimes we have some technical difficulties, so we'll start over just a minute. Wanted to welcome all the sophomores or anybody else that might be online this morning. My name is Linda Belknap. This is Shane Stanford. We are 2 of your 3 counselors here at Autry Technology Center, and we are really happy that you joined us. What we decided to do with this presentation was to show you how to sign up for our virtual tour day, which will be October 27th this year. We'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a minute, but we did want to tell you why we're doing this so early. Normally, sophomores come to our tour the very end of January, and then we are out at the schools enrolling in February. But because of COVID and all the circumstances that are going around with it, we decided in case we got sent home at Christmas, we hope this would never happen, but if we got sent home at Christmas and they said don't come back to school second semester, we wouldn't have the opportunity to visit with you and tell you about Autry and get you signed up in case you're interested in applying for next August. So this is really early, we know that, but hopefully you will be able to make some decisions about Autry, and we will consider enrollment for next August. What we'd like to tell you a little bit about is some things that hopefully you know. Autry is here in Enid. We accept students in their junior and senior year of high school, as well as adults. We have people all the way up to 65 and 70 years of age coming to Autry. So we have a big population, but next year will be the first year as a student that you can apply to come. Most students come half a day for 2 years in most of our programs. There are a few programs we'll tell you about today that are just 1-year programs, but most of the time students will come junior, senior year and finish. You can decide, hey, I'm going to wait till my senior year and just maybe do a 1 year of the program, but we also want you to be aware of the Autry Scholarship. That is available to any students who live in our district that graduate and live in our district when they graduate, and then they get 3 years of free tuition in any of our full-time programs. That can be as little as $1,050 up to about $5,000. It's a really good opportunity for you to take advantage of that. And we'll give you more information about that as you get to be a senior. So what else, Mr. Stanford? Can you think of any other things that we need to go over before we talk about our programs?
Not right now. I think we should just delve into our programs. What you are looking at is our screen. This is autrytech.edu. This is our home website. And what we have on it are 10 career clusters. We like to call them funnels. Autry's full-time programs actually fit within 8 of these funnels. So we're going to go over those programs one by one and give you a little synopsis of each one so that you can make an informed decision when you pick your tour selections. The first funnel we want to look at is we're going to skip agricultural, food, and natural resources, and we're going to go straight to architecture and construction. Now, there are a few programs that you're not going to be able to tour that will be available in August, and we'll cover those as we reach those funnels. The first program is air conditioning and refrigeration. One of my favorite because I like to stay comfortable, and you're not going to stay comfortable if you're hot in the summer or too cold in the winter. So these are the people who are highly trained. They'll work in all kinds of weather, hardworking. They want to keep those systems running so that you stay comfortable. Also, we like our drinks and our food to be cold from the freezers in the grocery stores and the on-queues and the Jiffy Trips, and they also take care of that. So that's air conditioning and refrigeration. The next one is computer-aided drafting and design. Not only do these people design blueprints and 3D models of homes and businesses, but they also design and the manufacture or 3D print in our case parts for like their robot. We have a robotics team at Autry, and they use that 3D printer to 3D print parts out of special polymers, and it's very tough. So it's not only CAD, computer-aided drafting and design, but it's also computer-aided manufacturing. So they do a little bit of that. And then we have construction. This is everything. This is from the footing of a home all the way up to the roof. And then they also will show you cabinetry and carpentry skills and a little bit of wood turning. So this is everything that anyone who wants to work with wood, this is their dream class. The next one.
Go to our next funnel, which is Arts and Communication. We have one full-time program that fits under Arts and Communications, and that is Graphic Arts. This is a really popular class. You don't really have to be an artist to like this class, as long as you have real creative ideas. A lot of times I tell students, if you like to doodle on your paper and you're always drawing and doing things, you might possibly be a graphic arts person. We also find a lot of students pick this class if they're a band student, because if you know anything about being left-brained or right-brained people are geared more toward music, toward art, and so we find a lot of students, a lot of band students in here as well. But they have a lot of opportunities to create wedding announcements, graduation announcements, brochures for companies. They do some digital photography in there. We've had some students have some really good opportunities, even like with the Enid Police Department. They came, and one of our students is responsible for that, the side of the police car that you see driving around Enid. They created that emblem. And so we have some really good opportunities to be able to put on your resume as far as artwork goes. We'll go to our next funnel.
I did not know about that emblem, so that's pretty cool. The next one is Business Management and Leadership Funnel. And under that, in the full-time division, we have something called the Business Management and Entrepreneurship class. If you'll go ahead and click on that one. I like to click on this and kind of scroll up a little bit. And this is one program that encompasses 4 different areas of concentration. The first one being accounting, and you're not going to be an accountant if you take this, but you are going to learn how to be a full charge bookkeeper. And so you're the person who works for the accountant, plugging in the data so that the accountant can look it all over and sign his name to it. The next one is entrepreneurship. Have you ever dreamed of owning your own business or creating your own product? Well, that's only a small part of actual being an entrepreneur. You also want to be able to pay your taxes, meet your payroll, and hire and manage your social media presence. So that's entrepreneurship. The other program is Executive Administrative Assistant. No business or school or hospital can function without these individuals who basically run the offices and maintain all the records for that business. At your school secretary, I bet you go to her quite often when you need something. That's what she's doing right there. The next one is medical office. Medical office is like a secretary for a medical office. They're maintaining patient records. They may be billing insurance, and they're maintaining the confidentiality of those records. So they're not seeing the messy or the gross stuff in the back, but they're dealing with the patient up front. So that's business management and entrepreneurship.
Our next funnel is going to be health and emergency services. We have a lot of health classes at Autry. They're very, very popular. The full-time programs that are available to high school students are the 3 that you see here: clinical medical assisting, dental assisting, and health careers. I will tell you that the first one there, the clinical medical assisting, this is the person, if you go to urgent care, they're the first person you probably see. They take you back. They ask you to get on a scale, which Mrs. Belknap always says, no, thank you, but they always tell me you don't have the option to do that. You need to step on the scale. So they're going to weigh you. They're going to take your temperature. They're going to take your blood pressure. They may come in and give you a flu shot. But they're also going to sit down with you and input all of your information, make sure your address and name and everything. And then they'll say, what's going on today, and then they'll say that the doctor will be in shortly. So they do a lot of customer service, things like that. But for this class, you do have to be 18 years old by March 1st of the year that you are enrolled in that program. So most of you sophomores, that will not be an opportunity for you next year as juniors. And many of you, when you get to be a senior, that will not. If you're like me, I didn't turn 18 until after I graduated, and so that would not be an opportunity for you till after you graduate. Just remember that 18 years old by March 1st. The dental assisting program. Now, we have a lot of people think that the person that is doing all the work in a dentist's office, that's a dental assistant, but it really isn't. That's probably your dental hygienist. That's a step up from dental assisting, but dental assisting is a good place to start to find out if you really like people's mouths, because not everybody brushes their teeth like you probably do. And so it gives you a chance to get in there and find out about how the mouth is put together, and it will allow you can take x-rays of teeth. You'll learn how to make impressions, like if you're getting ready to have braces or something, you'll learn how to do that. But the person that's actually digging on your teeth, that's probably the hygienist. And so this would give you an idea of working as a dental assistant for a while. Do I like this? If I do, I'm going to go on possibly to another school, probably get my associate's degree in dental hygiene, and then make a lot more money doing that. But it does take a lot more schooling to do that. And then our health careers. This is a class that is really for anybody that wants to do any type of health field. It's going to give you a broad overview of all the different careers out there. But there's a couple really cool things about this class that you can get that you don't get from any other class. One of them is you get a science credit. So we all know that it takes at least 3 science credits to graduate. Some of your schools require 4 if you're going on a college track or something, or an honors track. But for most of our schools, the state requirement is that you have 3 sciences. And so if you take the health careers class, you will get an anatomy credit. You're going to do anatomy every single day, and it will be transcribed on your transcript with an anatomy credit of science credit. The other thing is, especially if you're wanting to maybe pursue nursing in the future, you can get your CNA. A CNA is a certified nurse assistant. It's the bottom level of nursing. And we have that program that we do on a short-term basis here at Autry. We have a lot of people take that, but it's $599. And if you come, even as a high school student, and you take that on a short-term class, we're going to charge you $599 for it. But if you are in health careers and you say, I would like to take advantage of that curriculum, then you get it for free. Those CNAs are making $12 and $13 out in our community right now, and they're very needed. So if you're wanting to do that, great. Now maybe you say, well, I want to do health careers, but I really don't want to be a nurse. I want to be an anesthesiologist. I want to be possibly a vet. We don't do pets here, but even getting that background in any type of medical is going to help you pursue that. But let's say you want to do that, you're not real crazy about doing the CNA. You don't have to. You can say, I'll skip the CNA curriculum. I just want to go on with the health careers curriculum. But all 3 of these are the 3 classes I told you about. They're only 1 year. Most of our classes are 2. You come half a day for 2 years. But all 3 of these classes right here only take 1 year to complete.
The next one is under Hospitality and Human Services. And under Hospitality and Human Services, I want to talk about one that's coming in August, and that's culinary. We're totally remodeling our culinary area. We're going to have a state-of-the-art kitchen. We're going to have a totally remodeled cafe. We're also going to have a food truck, so you can learn food truck management, and more importantly, how to manage inventory for such a small, in a smaller setting, and how to specialize in a few good meals. The other one would be they're going to have an outdoor grilling area, so you can learn outdoor grilling techniques. So a state-of-the-art, all brand new culinary program. Again, not one you can tour on October 27th, but one that you can apply for when you apply for August. The next one is cosmetology, one of our very most popular programs. We tend to have a lot of people who want to be cosmetologists. So this is a full-service salon. They are specializing in hair color, haircuts for men and women and children, and they're also going to do nails, teach you how to do pedicures, manicures, and a little bit of facials. If you have hopes of being an aesthetic someday and be in aesthetics someday, that's going to give you a feel for what an esthetician does on a daily basis. So that's cosmetology. Another one is early care and hospitality. If you love small children, and you have to love small children, because these young men and women, they go out every day or a lot, several times a week to area daycares and early childhood centers, and they work one-on-one with children. They learn how to read to them properly, how to attain knowledge from them with their body language, because they can't always tell you what they want. They learn how to provide nutritious meals. But they also, the hospitality part of that is, I don't know a small child alive who doesn't want to have a great birthday party. So they learn cake making. They will decorate cookies. And so there's a fun aspect to that class also. So that's early care and hospitality.
The next funnel is information technology. This is a class that it's a pretty mature class, meaning that a lot of times you are working individually on your own and you're expected to stay on task. But if you like to take computers apart, like to put them back together, see how everything works, troubleshoot. Somebody asked me the other day what that meant. Troubleshoot means, we all have stuff that goes wrong with our computer. Troubleshoot is you get in there and you see what the problem is and you fix it. My own son took this class. I like to talk about him a little bit. Just a little story that, it's okay to go to both Autry Technology Center as well as college, because my son did that. He started out at Autry. He ended up going to OSU and got a 4-year degree. And he went down to Houston to start his degree. And when he actually started the job he thought he wanted, he found out he hated every minute of that. And so that's a real good lesson as far as the reason Autry is so good is you get to practice what you're doing while you're going to school, where he didn't get to practice what he thought he wanted to do until after he graduated from college. So he ended up coming back after he finished his college degree. He came back to Autry and he took IT classes, and he is now employed at Oklahoma State University as a computer specialist and helps people fix their computers. So the IT, like I said, it's a mature class. You've got to be trusted not to be on websites you're not supposed to be on and all of that, but you have to stay up with the curriculum. But it's a very, very good field. Computers are not going away.
Okay, the next funnel is manufacturing and trades. And again, in this area, we do have one coming in August that we're very excited about. Actually, we have two. We have, if you've seen the construction at Autry on the east side of the building, that large building that's being built to specifications so that trucks can drive in there, big old tractors, combines, your bulldozers, and that's our diesel program. So we've been wanting to bring that back, and we've got a lot of excitement surrounding that program. So that's our diesel program that's coming back again, not one you can tour, but one that you can apply for in August. Another one is CNC machining, and that's the way I explain that is that's manufacturing parts using specialized equipment and specialized software. So that's we do have employers in town and in this area that do employ machinists, and that's what they're doing. And then we also have in this area, I'm going to go ahead and skip over industrial and mechanical technology. This is an adult-only program, and if you're interested as you get closer to that, we'll talk about that. But one that's closely related to that program that a high school student can take is robotics and electronic automation. So robotics, we train on the FANUC robotic arm, and they say that if you can train on the FANUC robotic arm, you can program and troubleshoot any robotic arm that's out there. We have students who have graduated from this program or finished this program. They work for Tesla or they work for Amazon Prime because those are big manufacturing plants and they all use robots and specialized machinery. Now, I just talked about robotics pretty closely. The electronic automation, a lot of plants use just specialized machinery and they need someone on campus or on site so that when something goes wrong with their machinery, they don't have to wait for someone to come from Arkansas or Texas or Washington State to fix that, because every hour that machinery is down, they're losing money, and companies do not like to lose money. So they want someone specialized who can troubleshoot and fix their machinery so they can get it back working and people can get back to work. So that's robotics and electronic automation. Welding, if you like to work with fire, but controlled fire. let's be real careful there. Welding technology is for you. We have in this you can certify in 3G, 4G, 6G. You can learn about tungsten and gas welding. That's basically joining two metals together that are not of the same type. So there's a lot of training that goes on in the welding technology program, and I love it when the sparks fly. They do wear a specialized equipment to protect themselves, and so safety is important in all of our courses, not just welding, but in all of our programs.
Next, we have our last, we're going to skip safety, but our last funnel is transportation. And that's actually where the new diesel program that Mr. Stanford was talking about, it will be on here before too long. That's where you'll see that. But again, it will not be available to tour, but it will be available for you to select as far as a class. We have automotive. They say today's cars, and we know that, they just do everything by computers. Computers today have more cars today have more computers on it than the first spaceship that went up. So that's just amazing to me. And it's just amazing all the different things they do. So you have to be able to work on computers, but you're working on the engines, the brakes, the steering, the suspension of a vehicle, learning how to do that. And one thing I might say that we usually mention, we don't care if you're a girl or a boy wanting that, if you're wanting cosmetology, if you're wanting automotive. Maybe in the olden days, someone might have looked at you kind of crazy if you wanted something. Now, the sky's the limit. There are so many options for males and females to pick on careers, so it's really good. The middle one there, collision repair, is the outside of vehicles. So many of you sophomores are probably just starting to drive or getting ready, excited about driving, and the first time you ding that bumper or something happens and you have to go home and tell mom and dad, and you're thinking, oh, this is not going to be any big deal. It's just going to be a little bit of money, and it ends up being $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000. It's a big eye opener. So the collision class will help you learn how to pull out just small dents. Maybe it hailed on your car, to where maybe you're in a bad wreck and you have to pull that whole frame out so that door opens correctly the rest of the time. So we have our own paint booth, so we're able to match paint, and those vehicles come out looking great. And then the last one there is power products. It's our small engines, our four-wheelers, three-wheelers, motorcycles, lawn care equipment, a little bit of outdoor or outboard marine engines, but that's kind of a specialty on its own. That they can tell you where to go after that if that's really what you want to specialize in. But it's those smaller engines of learning how to fix and maintain those. So that is pretty much our list of classes. Those three classes that you will not be able to tour are the diesel, the CNC machining, and the culinary arts. But any of the others, it will be on the list for you to tour on October 27th. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have you, if you're watching, if you'll go ahead and click on the tab up there at the top that says Apply for Full-Time Programs. Then there you'll see some black boxes here. We're going to click on the black box that says Full-Time Resources. And that's going to take you to a page which is all for you sophomores, okay? There are several steps here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one says questions. What we're probably going to do is we're going to give you just a few minutes. We'll stand by. We're going to have you take the little interest assessment, the survey number 1. We're going to give you maybe just a couple minutes. It doesn't take very long. If you'll go ahead and click on that, and then it says take the survey. If you will click on that again, and then I think it says take the quiz. What careers interest you most?
It's important while you're doing this to go with your first instinct. Don't think too hard about it. And also don't be one of those who say no to everything or yes to everything, because you're not going to get a good result if you do that. One of the best interest surveys you'll ever take in your high school career is the one that's put out by ACT or the one that's put out by SAT. They are up to 72, sometimes more questions, and they have spent millions of dollars on that interest survey. So if you take it seriously, it will return to you some great results for finding a career or finding out what may interest you or may not interest you. We like to say that finding out what you don't want to do is sometimes more important than actually finding out what you do want to do. So you just keep taking that survey, and I'm just going to mention one more thing. Ms. Belknap mentioned her son who went to college. We have many students on our campus who go half a day with us, and then they go on and go to NOC or Northwestern here in town. We have students who take our programs and they go on to OSU IT in Okmulgee to earn an associate's degree, or to Cali College in Kansas. So there's lots of options for you. You're not ever going to see us say, oh, going the technology route is the most important. What you're going to see us saying is it's really what your plan is, and that's what we're interested in is, do you have a plan after high school? And we're talking about a plan to make some money and to be a productive member of society, not a plan to stay home and sit on mom and dad's couch and play video games. Although that's a plan and a fun plan, it's not one that's going to actually pay the bills. So that's what we always want you to do, is just think about, and that's what your ICAP efforts at your high school are trying to get you to think about as you go along from your 9th, 10th, juniors, and senior years, is what do I want to do after high school? Does that what you want to do after high school have to be what you do the rest of your life? No. Many people change careers several times throughout their lifetime, throughout their working career. But that doesn't mean that you don't want to start out strong after high school.
Okay, if you're done taking that survey, we are going to go to step 2. This is where it says it's a survey. This is where you're actually going to sign up for that tour, for that sophomore tour, that virtual sophomore tour. So you can go to that. And then once you do that, we're hoping that it will show up on your screen. If it doesn't, what I would suggest is that you go to your home computer or do this at another time, but you'll go to number 2, and it takes probably 30 seconds to put your name in, your school, and the 2 options that you have. As you're doing that, step 3 is only for somebody who says, you know what? I don't even need to do this tour. I know I've always wanted to go to Autry. Then you can actually go ahead and do number 3. I wouldn't do it unless you're just absolutely sure, because what that will do, one thing we didn't discuss are the things that we look at to come to Autry. We have what we call a rubric system. It's a sheet of paper that gives you points for different things. And as a high school, junior or senior for next year, we will look at your attendance. That is so important because we kind of consider this your job right now of going to school. And so we're going to ask your employer, if it's Enid Public Schools or Pioneer or Drummond, we're going to say, does this employee show up to work? Are they coming to school? So that's very important. Autry has a policy of you can have 10 absences a semester, and that's it. If you go over on those absences, then you will be sent back to your school at semester. Now, we know this has been a crazy semester. Many of you may have been tested for COVID and come down with it, or maybe you were just quarantined because you were around somebody. We're going to take that into consideration this year. But on a normal year, If you're gone for a doctor appointment, a dentist appointment, all those are going to count toward that 10, so you want to be very careful. The other thing we're going to look at on that rubric is your GPA. That is, what kind of grades when you're at your school, when you're at your job that you're coming to 7 to 8 hours a day. Are you doing what you're supposed to be? Are you doing your work? Well, so what kind of employee are you? And so we give you points for your GPA. At Autry, you have to have an A, B, or C to stay. So that's going to kind of be important for us looking at your current situation in school. Then we will also look at test scores. Most of you will be taking you're going to take a pre-ACT score this year, but we're not sure that we're going to have access to those ACT scores, pre-ACT scores in time. So we may very possibly be giving you a test that we will give you either at your school or you'll come to us. One of those two, we will get some test scores on you one way or the other because you have to have points for that. And then we're going to ask you a couple of interview questions. They're not hard. We just want you to talk to us and be able to say a few things on why do you want to take this class, that kind of thing. But those are the kind of things we're going to be looking for. If you're going, hey, I know I want to come to Autry, you can do step 3, pre-apply. It's just going to ask you your name. It's not even going to ask you what class you want. It's just what school you go to.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that you're sophomores. Some of you may have had a rough freshman year. That's very common. So what we do look at is not just your freshman grades and your sophomore grades, but did you make improvement from your freshman year? So don't prejudge yourself. Let us make those decisions based on the whole student information we have in front of us, and so don't let that deter you from applying.
And then that step 4, we really would rather you did not do that right now. That's when you're really going to apply to Autry. And we'll have you do that when we come out to your school. Or, if you're not going to be at the school, you can let us know. We'll tell you when it's time to do that. And then we also have that last thing where you can ask us a question and we'll respond. If you have a certain question about any of the programs that we've talked about. We hope you'll consider Autry. It's not for everybody. We can't fit everybody here at Autry, but it's a really good thing for a lot of people. So we hope that this tour, although it's virtual, we hope that it will help you see what we have, talk with your parents about it, tell them what you want to do. It's always good to talk to somebody else besides just your mom and dad or your friend, but counselors, get them all involved, and they will help you make good decisions.
Yes, thank you for joining us, and do know that we are available if you have any questions. Just go to Autry and ask a question, or contact us at autrytech.edu, or call us by calling our main number 580-242-2750 and asking for a career counselor. We'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. You can also, since you are at your high school or do have access to your high school counselors, you can go through them and they can ask us questions too. We have a good relationship with all of your counselors. So we hope that you have learned something today. We hope that you're able to get on and select your tour selections at another time very, very soon. Please do that. It's very important that we know your selections so we can send you out the proper links on tour date. Again, if you have any questions, just contact us. We're glad to answer any questions you might have.